My name is Amaya. I am 7 years old, and I am a student that knows everything.
Steve and Amaya became best little buddies almost the day that they met. Amaya is a very charismatic and sweet little girl, and Steve's so kind of quiet and reserved, and she's just so silly and giddy and sweet and so excited about whatever he has to teach her.
There were times when, there might be a day when I've got a lot going on and maybe the tutoring starts to feel a little bit like a burden, but then when I actually come in and spend the time with Amaya, I'm always thinking what was I even thinking? It is so rewarding.
I get excited when Mr. Steve comes, because on Thursday, he wasn't here. He had to go on a trip, and I really missed him.
I ask her to use words in a sentence if I'm not sure if she knows the meaning. So we were working on the word wax, and I asked her if she could use that in a sentence. She said she knew what it meant. And she said, "Sure, my dog whacks its tail." And I said, "All right, that's a good sentence." And then I kind of explained about candle wax also. And if she knows a word, she usually puts it in a sentence right away.
If I get stuck on a word, he helps me. And if he gets stuck on a word, I help him.
I think it is very important for students to have one-on-one tutoring. The work of the reading improvement and confidence and skill building gets to be the primary focus because the relationship is already there. And the trust and the care. The children know their tutors care for them. They're excited to see their tutor and they want to do well.
One of my favorite stories was, I guess this was leading up to Christmas the first year I tutored, and they were having a holiday party on Thursday, which was our normal tutoring day. So they had asked me ahead of time if I could come in on Friday instead. I came up to her classroom to get her on Friday, and when she came out, she said, "You forgot to pick me up yesterday." It was the first time I realized that she was definitely looking forward to getting together every Tuesday and Thursday. I know they talk about affecting two lives, and it's definitely, I know I'm helping her, but at the same time, it's certainly good for me as well.
Literacy is foundational, right? There is not a thing that we interact with and that we touch in our lives that is not based foundationally in an ability to access written language. And so when we are thinking about what are the core investments that we can make, literacy is one of those foundational steps that once a child has acquired that ability to read and to read with fluency, they'll be able to access anything else they imagine or dream about. So I think community investing in literacy is not just investing in literacy, but it's investing in a child's ability to access and interact with their future aspirations and goals. I was the chief of staff in Detroit Public Schools for about 5 years. I know that if we can't measure it, it's really hard to replicate it. If we can't replicate it, we can't scale it. And so when we're dealing with large systems like CMS, we want to think about interventions that are going to work long-term, interventions that we can see not just at one school, but across a district. And when I heard Steve present, it immediately struck me about how data-driven they were in the approach at ALP, that they were really focused on outcomes and how they could create growth for students. To see that the data was consistent both in virtual and in person, it was really exciting when I thought about scalability, replication, and continuation of the program long term.
We began in the single digits with proficiency. Last school year, the success rate that we had, 52.2% of our students were proficient according to DIBELS. That was just a kindergarten through second grade data. We have not had that level of proficiency since I became principal, and this is going into my 4th year. And so to have that many students proficient and then racing toward that goal CMS has of like 90% proficient by 2029, I did not know if we would be able to meet that goal, but now I feel like just looking at our data and all the efforts that we're making, I do feel like it's obtainable. Sometimes you get partners and they want a lot, in return for what they're doing. But ALP hasn't required a lot of me, just to be open and to have a space for them to get to work. I will say with my partnership with ALP, I have been able to ask, they give me their word, and then follow it up with action. And when you have a partner like that you can trust to do what they say they're going to do, yeah. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. I hear a lot of students now talking about what they want to be when they grow up, and those conversations were not being had a couple of years ago. Now they feel more confident and they do have that hope